True Talks, True Talks. What's hidden out of sight, I bring into the light, right down to the bone where the truth stands alone. Tell it like it is, if it's her words or his. Speak the truth, leave the rest, cause this is the place where there's no BS. True Talks, True Talks. True Talks, True Talks.
My name is Jasmin. This is True Talks. Thanks for joining me once again as we are talking about shedding light in dark places. Both of my guests today have shared such beautiful stories of healing in abuse from family members. I'd like to continue with Teresa, as before the break, she was sharing her life with us, with her father. I wanted to ask, with your father, have you gone through the anger and that rage? Have you broken through that?
I have. Many, many years I spent basically stuffing it all inside and not telling anybody. And then it bubbles to the surface automatically. It just will come out. So I'm glad it did, because I finally feel healed.
Wonderful. As children of abusive environments, I am one and I'm aware of what we go through. Have you allowed someone close to the family or other people to abuse you in any other way?
I had an experience not long after where I was beat up by my father at age 8, where we were over at family's house, and one of the family members wanted to go on a motorcycle ride, and so I was very excited and I wanted to go so badly. So I went and I sat in front of him on the motorcycle, and I was really excited and everything. And while we were riding, he kept rubbing my breasts and touching my breasts, and I just froze. I did not know what to do, and I didn't know how to stop it or say anything about it. And so I just pretended like it wasn't happening, and then finished the motorcycle ride and went back home. And I didn't say anything, and I've never told anybody about that, ever.
I'm the first one you've said that to? Well, I'm honored. How are you doing?
Well,
oh, goodness.
Well, I know. I just never had an experience to really bring it up. But your show is helping me bring it up.
Thank you.
But
I'm honored. How have you gotten through that one? Is this going to begin a healing process? Is this starting something?
Well, what's happened for me after these last 3 years of focusing on myself and loving myself and bringing healing to myself through others, I feel like what's happened to me in the past, I don't feel like a victim. I never feel like a victim anymore. And what I've also found out is what people do is a direct reflection of what's inside of them at the time. And if I hold these experiences in a place of love and compassion, as I do all things that happen on the planet that we don't want to look at, it brings me peace.
That's beautiful.
So, but thank you for giving me that opportunity to share that experience.
Maybe that little portion now will be released. Now, how did you start your healing process? What things have you done?
Well, the biggest thing was I went to a therapist, and I'm a veteran, so I went to the VA in White City, and I took classes for an entire year, non-stop, all of their life skills classes. I met so many amazing women. They were all women-only classes. I learned how to heal from trauma, how to meditate, how to breathe. I mean, I learned how to care for myself, how to love myself. I got rid of shame. And when you get rid of shame, you free up a huge amount of energy in the body. And it is replaced with joy.
How do you release shame?
Well, I have to tell you, the shame surrounding my, like that I wasn't good enough. I always felt like I wasn't good enough, that there was something wrong with me. I was dysfunctional. I was broken. And through those VA classes, those life skills classes, I was able to let go of that shame simply because I started to love myself unconditionally. No matter what I'd done, what I'd thought, what I continue to do, and what I still think, I refused to have any negative thoughts about that or judgment. I got rid of all that. However, in the area of sexuality, I still had shame. And that was not something that is easily moved through.
What's the shame of your sexuality that you had? What do you mean?
Well, in our culture, we don't talk about sex. And so I never felt like I could talk to anybody about my sexual experiences or what my dreams, or the only experience I had regarding sex is with a partner. And those relationships were dysfunctional because I was not really ready for them. So I took a Moga Taoist Sacred Sexuality course. Actually, I took 4 courses, 4 workshops.
You're gonna jump right in.
Yeah, and through that, I learned how to let go of all the shame, because I was learning that we are all the same. Like, this energy that exists inside of us is all the same. And it's actually sexual energy. I mean, it comes from the conception, you know. So I let it all go. I just said I'm letting it all go, but I actually needed the help of a mentor to talk to. So I saw not only did I take her workshops, but I also met with her privately, and we worked through some of that shame surrounding sexuality, and I let that go too. And honestly, I don't judge myself anymore when it comes to anything regarding sexuality.
That's powerful.
It is powerful.
And have you written? Do you write like a journal? Do you?
I do. I've been writing for many years.
Do you have something you'd like to share today?
I would love to. Thank you.
You're welcome.
These are short, so maybe I'll read both of them.
Yes, please.
First one is called Flame. There's one idea I find the most inspiring of all, and that is for everyone to fall in love with themselves. Because when this happens, we will then ignite the light of our own divine fire, and the ensuing explosion will ripple through the hearts of everyone on earth. Dance, dance, dance to the flame inside you we all want to see.
Beautiful. I'm that flame. And what's the next one?
This one's called Spirit Dust.
Yeah.
It's a bit lighter.
I love it.
Starts in my throat. Feels like anticipation, excitement, hovering around my awareness and collecting in the cracks and crevices of my forgotten places. I am aware of the whole of me again. Love settles upon my body and mind. As Spirit dusts me with her gentle power, I shake off and walk away into my day, leaving a trail for others to be reminded we are all made of the same stuff.
That's nice. I like that one too.
Thank you.
You should frame those. They're beautiful. And you still writing?
I am. I'm putting together a book
Okay.
after all these years, and it's called Compassion is Medicine, Meditations and Inspirations.
Wonderful. Do you have like an anticipation date, or are you just starting it?
I've never written a book before, so now that I'm in the process of writing, I'm realizing what's involved. And a lot of writing is going on up here all the time. And so now I put the layout together, but I expect about 6 months.
Ooh, that's
6
nice
months.
though. Okay. Now I wanted to open it up a little bit for both of you, kind of open up a little forum, because I had a few questions as you go through this type of environment. Your relationships, do you currently have a relationship, a love relationship? Start with you.
I don't.
No. And John?
No.
No? May I ask why?
I've learned, first I need to be ready, and I kind of feel like I'm getting there. It's been 3 years.
Okay.
On top of that, I'm very, very particular now about who I let into my energy field, and I want to move into a friendship first before I move into a romantic relationship. And so I really need to be friends first. And I know that if I meet the right person, like a soulmate or a twin flame or whatever, somebody I really resonate with, that it's going to be hard to hold back all that, hormones and stuff. But I really want to commit to getting to know somebody on a friendship basis first.
Okay. What's your greatest fear about getting into a relationship?
that'll be the same as before. Unhealthy. I'll lose myself in it. Yeah.
What could you do to change them?
What Teresa said. I mean, it's really, at this stage of my life, I have so many great friends who are women. And I'm really learning the different degrees of love, you know, and that love can be so present in so many different ways. I mean, I grew up, I heard about love, but it wasn't, I didn't see it in my parents. I didn't really see it anywhere. So it was this remote, distant thing you heard about, but you could look in the dictionary and go, oh, that's what I don't see it. And I mean, at my ripe old age of 58, I'm learning all of these amazing loves of, you know, right now I'm house sitting cats, and I'm calling them love. You know, they when I sleep, they sleep, you know, on me somewhere. It's like they know where my body needs love, and so it's this amazing. And so you ask about, am I ready for a relationship? Not yet. And I'm also learning to love me, to love the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that he's okay. As I said in the poem, from young I was told how bad I was, how inadequate I was, and how, so that is the story that is so powerful in my being. And now I literally stand in the mirror and go, I love you. And I can do that now and not go, oh, geez, what are you doing? I can actually hear it. And I say that to little John, who never got that message, to the little me, the 7-year-old, the 3-year-old, who never got loved.
I know you look in the mirror as far as a step to love yourself. What else do you do to love yourself?
Go outside. Love nature, paint, write, and when I'm tired, I sleep.
There you go.
Which, for a vast majority of my time, I ignored my body until my body said, that's not going to work so much anymore. And it manifested in a number of ways.
Really? Anything that you're healing from now?
Well, I had pancreatic growth, 2 years or 3 years ago, that against all odds was not cancerous, really against the odds. And I have an ankle that I sprained 3.5 years ago that's still kind of bothering me. So my body's like saying, it's still time to 10. Take it slow, take it slow. And before it was, how fast can I walk around this park? And now it's like, that's not what it's about. It's like looking at the trees budding, how many different birds do I see? And sitting watching the creek go by. So it's really, I've really shifted in a big way.
Slowing down just a little.
It's not a race.
Missing, yes, that's wonderful. As we go through this, I wanted to ask, these are patterns that we had talked about at the beginning of the show that can create in our life because of the environment that we've come from. Now, we've spoken about love. Do you have the ability to trust someone? And if you do, why?
You know, it's interesting that you bring up that word trust. I thought that I definitely trusted women, but maybe I wasn't trusting completely of men yet. And I did a theta healing session recently. I don't know if you've heard of theta healing. It's kind of a fairly new idea with somebody who I really do trust. And we did the forward, if you move forward, it's a yes, and if you move backward, it's a no, that muscle testing stuff. And he asked me, do you trust men? And of course, I fell backwards. And then, do you trust women? And I fell backwards. And I was shocked. So yes, I am working on trusting men and women. And I guess I don't fully trust people yet. There's still some healing going on in that part of me. Might be at a cellular level still, because up here I feel like I do in the mind, but in the body, parts of my body don't fully trust yet.
There's a saying that I've heard repeated that I can trust everyone because I trust myself. What does that mean to you?
I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
I trust myself, but maybe there's a part of me that doesn't.
The body. Maybe the body, like
Maybe,
you said.
huh? I haven't thought about that before.
And another pattern that can show up is phobias. Do you have any phobias?
Phobias?
Mm-hmm. Phobias.
I don't know.
Can that be a phobia?
Maybe, yes, that could be a phobia.
Phobia because I don't know.
I've never thought about that before.
Okay. Not cats, not dogs, not snakes.
No, not, well, the snake was an interesting experience, but no. Mushrooms. Phobias. What comes up when you ask that is that I can't allow myself to have a phobia because then it's fear. And I don't want to show fear. So I'll walk into it even though inside I'm going, ah, you know, uncomfortable. I don't want to have that.
Can't have a phobia.
No, but I mean, yeah, wow.
When's the last time you used your no? When's the last time you set a boundary?
Well, our interchange on the paintings was a big thing for me when you presented the music the first time, and I said, well, I like something a little different.
Good. Yes, you did.
That for me was really big. Number one, because I had to trust you as a woman, which is a big learning for me that I could say that
Right.
to you and you wouldn't be upset at me. And number two, that I could speak what I felt and you were willing to hear it.
Yes.
And so, I mean, that just happened like 4 or 5 days ago. So, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Ooh, 1, and then 2, and then 3. You never
Yeah.
know what can happen. Oh. And with you, have you come to understand or trust the foundation of your perceptions? What you see and what your gut says to you?
What I believe I do, because I'm always coming from a place from the soul level and the heart level. I try not to always be up in the mind level, so I trust life fully. And in that sense, I guess I do trust everybody and myself, because I do trust life now.
Well, what would scare you? What scares you the most about yourself right now?
I would have to say, and I don't think about this very much anymore, but I was deeply suicidal for many years. And I've attempted suicide 3 times. And I know the place where I can go very quickly when things fall apart before in my life, when I didn't know what I know now. I don't really feel like I'd ever go back there. But occasionally I'll wake up in the morning and I won't feel quite as joyful and as happy, and I'll wonder, because I know that depression can come very quickly and pull you right back down. That would have to be my biggest fear.
Wow. And then how about you, John? What's the one thing that scares you most about yourself?
That when I'm gone, when it's my time to go, I haven't said yes enough to step into my bigness.
Do you think you'll get those opportunities? Will you create those opportunities?
I said yes to you.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes. Yes, and that's a power. That's a power.
Yes.
Oh.
And a freedom.
And a freedom, yes. The last thing that had come up on the video was the worst consequence that could really possibly happen is where we don't bring a consciousness in, and then our generation, our children, the next generation, this goes to them as blame. Have you been able to heal with your children?
With my elder son, yes. And not with my daughter. She hasn't been in my life for 10 and a half years, so she's on her own journey. And I feel that through doing my work, that should we come back together in this lifetime, we will be, through my work, she will know healing. And my youngest son, we talk, and he understands a little bit of what I'm doing. So there's a little progress made, yeah.
Right. What's the big difficulty been as far as communicating with your children?
I shifted a great deal. I mean, I used to have for a professional job, I was an engineer, and I left that profession in 2006. And since then, I've been, I have the great opportunity to work at retreat centers in Alaska and Hawaii and Minnesota, and I've lived a life I never could have imagined if I had not walked away from that. And walking away from that caused a lot of shifts and a lot of changes in my life, and consequently in their life, which is interesting to see how my shift of my life affects so many others. And my elder son, he understands what shifted, and again, my daughter, she's chosen not to have a relationship at this time. So,
Has she said why?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's not verbalizing at this point.
No.
Okay. She has her own process to go
Yeah.
through, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Both of you together, what do you look for? Say we're going to bring love in, we're healing. What do you look for in a partner and that friend?
Honesty
Trust.
Okay.
can be the ability to communicate
Yes.
and talk
Honest
about
communication.
anything.
Yeah.
I want to be able to talk about anything.
Yes.
Without judgment.
Yes.
Yes, without fear of judgment.
And I've noticed in relationship to own my reaction to what is said by the other. And I've learned that it's what I bring to the relationship is what's causing my reaction. My reaction isn't to the person, it's to the experience that we're talking about based on something that's happened in my past. So I may get triggered, but it really isn't about the person who's in the conversation with me.
What's a trigger? What is that about? What happens? So that the audience can understand.
Okay. Yeah. It may be a word about an experience that we've shared together, and in our experience, it was a pleasant experience. But in the talking of it, all of a sudden I go back to another experience I had previously in life,
Triggers an old pain.
where there's an old pain, an old memory of a sorrow or a sadness or even anger, and that'll come up, and it doesn't match with the experience I've had with in this relationship.
Interesting.
And it's saying that's mine.
And owning that.
Yes.
Having conscious. So with you, what do you fight? Do you have a trigger that you still struggle with?
Well, I'm mostly by myself. I like solitude, and so I notice when I'm around people, especially around men in public, that some days it's hard for me to fully hold the space of love and compassion. Every day I get better, but sometimes I get triggered just by the way men treat me in public situations. And it does trigger, because I've had so much pain in my life from men. So it's hard sometimes for me to I just want to be who I am, but I feel like I'm getting treated like a body, and not the whole of me.
How can you begin to heal that? How do you make it through a day when you have to go out?
Yeah, it's tough some days. And I have to tell you, compassion is medicine. And what I do is I imagine my legs are completely hollow. And then when I need that extra compassion, I fill up my legs full of compassion, and then I pull it out as needed. So it's like an extra surplus down here.
Oh,
So it's not just up here in the heart, it's down in my legs, and so I'll pull it out. And I really have to go to those places sometimes, because what I usually want to do is run away. That's my reaction, is to run away, avoid, turn around and leave. And I want to treat everybody that way with love and compassion, you know. And so when I get treated, you know, men are trying to pick me up or make contact with me or somehow engage with me, I just have to go to that place. And I have to say that energy works.
Okay.
Bringing that energy to the situation usually works. I have not really had any big problems with men out in public. So
It's like when I was younger, it was the situation with me, but I would see that individual as them. It had nothing to do with me. If they tried to engage, I could see it, but I would engage, have a conversation, but they weren't going to get anything that I didn't want to give. So it's a tough place to know that I'll allow this, but when it comes to when I'm done, then we're done. You're not going to get from me something that I don't want to give. And I know that now.
that requires a big inner strength.
Just knowing you.
Pulling that out. That is hard for me still.
Yeah,
Boundary
yeah.
setting and sticking to my guns, you know.
Well, I want to thank both of you guys for being in the show. This has been so illuminating. My goodness, just to be in the presence of such courage and the bravery. I wanted to ask each one of you one more time, when you find love, not in the mind, how will you know? How will your heart feel? How would that be expressed? I think it's beautiful to share with the audience what's happened, how we're healing, but how do we know that love has shown up?
And again, it's the different degrees of love. And it's so cool to have love show up in so many different ways.
How many have you been experiencing? The cats?
The cats, I mean, my son, my younger son, I have women friends who, you know, we say we love each other.
Right.
And 5 years ago, 3 years ago, I couldn't have done that because that was outside the boundary of the small box I defined as love. And so we text, I love you, and we say, I love you, and it's this marvelous new way. And there's still times when I'm like, oh, but it's really kind of cool. And so then there's the big love.
Love can show up in so many ways in our friends and being here on the show. My name is Jasmin. I want to thank you for being here. The crew, they do not get paid. They volunteer their time. Please continue with me Wednesday nights at 6:30 p.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. And maybe I'll ask my guest to come back and we'll have some more fun. Thank you for watching the show. I hope to see you next time. Sending you love always.